Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so yesterday we have, seen the syllabus of your indirect taxation, and we have started with the unit one, which is named as the introduction to your GST. Okay, so now in this particular chapter, what we have covered yesterday is the concept of your indirect taxation, the concept of your GST. Okay, in that various things we have covered, like cascading effect, okay, the history of it. Then after we have understood the value addition of the taxes, we have learned that GST is also called as the one nation one tax, how the flow of credit of your taxation goes, that also we have covered. We have I've just given you the the introductory part of your GSTN, then after the introductory part of your registration, then ITC part, dual structure, and of course the cascading effect, that is your taxes on tax. Okay. Now, here in this particular slide, you can observe that the one nation, one tax wala system is what all your central taxes are also clubbed, and your state taxes are also clubbed in it. Now, let's understand how the scope of your GST is. Okay, where exactly the goods and services land into. So, as per the article of 366 2A, okay, of the Constitution, the GST is levied on all of your goods and services. Okay, whatever the goods and services are there, in all sectors it is applicable, but there are four some products or the services which is there, which is not covered under your GST, which does not come under your GST law. Okay, which are those? The first one is the alcohol liquor for the human consumption. Now understand why this particular product, okay, is comes under the does not comes under your GST part. If you could see the psychology of the persons, okay, the alcoholic liquor, whenever someone who is a drunkard, if you ask them to stop, they are not going to stop. It's the continuous process which they will be doing. Okay. If you could recall this, in the law of demand also, it is the exceptional part. Okay. The habitual products are the exceptional parts. Okay. So this liquor comes under the habitual products. Okay. Where the government can earn more of the income, okay, from this particular product, and hence the GST law is not pertaining to it. Higher the rates are, still people are going to buy that particular product. If it is 18%, 20%, 25%, even though it is harmful for the health, still people are going to buy that particular product. Okay, that is the reason, one of the reason, okay, the law does not permit for the alcoholic liquor for the human consumption only. Next comes into the petroleum products. Now petroleum products is basically what? Can you tell me? Hello, are you there? Yeah, petroleum products, it includes your transportation fuels, okay, like fuel oils, then diesels, the heating capacity which makes, okay. So this petroleum products are also excluded from the GST scope. Why? Because this is the rare resources, okay. It's the natural resources. At a point it is going to get exhausted, and hence people should not use these products more frequently, or they should bring the use in control. So that is the reason the petroleum products are also out of the GST law. Next comes is your real estate sector. Why real estate sectors? Because this covers, this comes into the picture of your um, income taxes. Okay, that is the reason the real estate sector is excluded. Then comes and also one of the reason is also this key real estate sector is basically the area which is there right now with us. Okay, so as soon as the population are also increasing, people's demand are high for it, and of course, to earn more, the real estate sector is also out of it. Next comes is your tobacco. What tobaccos is again the habitual product. Okay, and once it is habitual product, one cannot stop it, and to control that particular part, to bring that into control, the GST law is not applicable for it. Higher the rates, it's the intention of the government, higher would be the rate, so people would uh, you know it will get pinched to the people, and they will not buy it. This is the psychology what right now they are following it. So if someone asks you, what exactly the GST covers, so what you would answer is that GST is levied on all of your goods and services except the following: that is the alcohol, liquor for human consumption, the petroleum products, the real estate sector, and the tobacco. Okay. Uh, Yesterday we have covered the cascading effect, which is basically tax on tax. Also we have understood the dual GST model. Okay, the interstate supplies and your intrastate supplies. There is a mistake over here, I'll just correct that. Now you need to understand that why there is a need for your GST. Okay, why GST is important. As you can look at the picture, what can you frame is that this lady is in way out in a tension, correct? And she might be having way out difficulties in her life. Now similarly, this difficulty is also there, was also highlighted in the old regime. Okay, the old indirect taxation system. What was it? It said that there are many taxes. Okay, if we talk about there were several problems which has been came up into the picture. Okay, so the taxation authority, okay, has also shared that the since India is the federal system, so they are sharing. Okay, between them also the conflicts were there. Okay, so to avoid that also the process has been has become convoluted, and the numerous charges have been instituted. So this has resulted in number of issues like breaking of the law, or to catch someone, or the taxes are not been paid on time. To avoid again this, the system was removed. Also, if you take into consideration the tax on tax process, okay, the cascading effect, okay, to eliminate that also, this process has been enacted. So if you see, there are many taxes between the central government and the state government to remove the cascading effects of the taxes. Yes, of course, the separate economic spheres. Not forgetting this also, in particular sectors, okay, the tax rates were too high unnecessarily. So to again eliminate that, we are coming to the GST part. There was no free flow of your trade. That means there was a lot of taxes for the importation and the exportation part. Okay, the customs, etc., the excise duties, then VAT, etc., charges were inculcated, and because of that particular restriction, one cannot go into the international level and sell out the products. There was high compliance cost, yes, to to um what's it, to maintain all the records, or to file out the problems also. The person or the taxpayer has to control everything. To the cost has gone very high because that was offline procedure. So in offline procedure, the account maintenance also cost comes in, the transportation cost also covers, the paperwork also covers, Okay, and of course the time is also covering. So this resulted in a lot of increase in the expenses. This was the part of the old old system problems. But why we are choosing this GST, this is also important. Okay, because this process of your GST itself is very simplified. Okay, it's the complete online process which we are doing, which becomes simpler, and also it reduces the cost of it. Correct. Now, the regime which we are following is the online process. That is the reason the cost has been decreasing, and it controls your entire supply chain. Okay, the entire supply chain has been covered over here, and there is the it becomes very easy to identify the taxes also which is supposed to be paid, and what availing we are going to get. That is the ITC part also we can get into notice, and it's very periodically followed, so the maintenance of the accounts also becomes very easy. And of course the broadened tax base is there, because the interstate supplies, the intrastate supplies makes life more easier to identify, and who is going to collect the taxes, and how, what exactly they do about it, and how they move on with the further part is has become the model of your GST. Now, what are the benefits of your GST which has been covered, because you have understood, why GST is important for us. So, one need to understand the benefits also. Once it is benefited, then only you will understand the need part. Okay, so concentrating on the benefits, is the first benefit is that it's one nation, one tax. Only common tax is there, as you could realized, as you might have realized the in the earlier part also, that there were almost 5-10 taxes into the into the state. So the combination of all both taxes has been covered into the GST, which makes it so easy and so reliable to proceed further, and what one has to do it. Okay, and of course it eliminates that double taxation part. It's easy compliance. Yes, of course it is easy, because you would realize it very early. Okay, this is what is supposed to be done. This is what it is. And the process itself is very simple. It's uniformity of taxes and the structures. Yes, till now, if you have observed, the rates and the structures are same. Okay, whatever the slabs are. Like, for example, it is 18%. So again, if it's the interstate supply, okay, then interstate supply is your IGC, so 18% will be charged. If it is, it comes under the intrastate supplies, then it will be 9% for your CGST, 9% for the SGST. In case if the territory, if the party is from the union territory, then again it may charge the UTGST. It has removed the cascading part, that is your taxes on tax. It has improved the competitiveness. Why? Because if you can see, in the market, everyone is now pertaining, even the pani puri wala has the GST number. Okay, if you could see, yes or no, have you seen that? Hello, am I audible, everyone? It improves the competitiveness. It gains to the manufacturers and the exporters. Of course, the manufacturer and the exporters are motivated by this. Okay, the exporters will, go more into the international market, and they will earn the US dollars, which will again help for the part of your uh, the GDP. Then it is again simpler and easy to administer because everything is online. The electronic ledger, the input tax credit, okay, everything has been calculated on the part, and one can easily highlight it, one can easily update it and get it done. Even if there is any problem also, the GSTN people will help you to resolve it as soon as possible, because you don't have to go and step in offline. Okay, of course there is a facility over it, but it has made life simpler to just put that into the inquiry button and get the things done. It better controls on the leakage. Yes, it controls, because there were loopholes which we have seen earlier, and this loopholes are now covered into this, so that we get the maximum benefit of the law, and the government gets easily government will be in a position to control everything very easily. Higher revenue efficiency, of course. If now even we have that thoughts, okay, इसके पास GST है, नंबर है, मतलब ये GST फाइल कर रहा है. Okay, we would prefer to go to that person, because something he is doing which is pertaining to the law. Okay, so the efficiency is also high, which directly or indirectly affects the revenue also. And if everyone is paying, then every part of your capital has been controlled by the government. It's a single and transparent tax proportionate to the value of goods and services. Yes, everything is transparent. One can go and look the details of the taxes which has been paid by the person, by the taxpayer, or the by the shop. It gives us the relief in overall tax burden. The threshold limit for your GST registration is also there. It depends upon the criteria, which the threshold limit will be discussed in the next class. Okay, once we start with the unit 2, we will learn about the registration process also, and there we will understand the threshold limit also. Okay, now the composition scheme for the small business is also there. Okay, so composition scheme, uh, where it is, and it's a very important part. Okay, the composition scheme is basically what? Okay, where people get the benefit out of it. It's come under your registration part only. Okay, the composition scheme for the small business, so that the threshold limit over here is too high, so that the small businesses are encouraged to get into the businesses. Okay, they to motivate them and move on further and to expand the businesses. It is relatively lesser compliance. We have covered defined treatment for the e-commerce activities. Okay, e-commerce activities are those activities which is basically the online part. So the GSTN network, once we start with the GSTN network, you will understand the activities and the functions which they opt for. Yes, it has increased the efficiency in the logistic part also, because it has reduced the cost. Regulating the unorganized sector. Yes, there were sectors, which was unorganized, which was not covered, which are now taken into consideration and now covered under the GST part. if we know if the benefits are the person centric part or the sector centric parts, then what exactly the benefits one can get has been highlighted over here. If we talk about your business industries and the exporters, here for them the major benefits are the low taxes, low cost of low cost, that means the low expenses. And the concept over here is make in India concept, so one can rely on it and one can export more and more, because it will help us to again improve our economic. Okay, so the competitive competitions for the exports have now started. Earlier also it was there, but no, since the flow was not so strong, I mean, the flow was not so easy, there was no freedom, there were too much of restrictions, which has maintained the exporters back. For the consumers, what benefit they are getting, because they are supposed to pay low taxes also, and the expenses has been reduced over here. You might have observed when I was discussing the cascading effect to you. For the small businesses, yes, because the threshold limit over here is high, so they get motivated over it. The composition scheme is there for them, and the single registration process is there. They don't need to register every time. Yes, it's easy doing of your business because it is very simple and have the uniform taxes all over the world. I'm not world, I mean to say the law. It again, the record keeping cost is also low. It is simple and automated process which is there. Uh, it's impersonal tax administration because one can handle easily. Common tax procedure is there. Low tax compliance again. The economic growth will again help you. There will be an increase of exports, increase of manufacturing, increase of employment, and of course the GDP is going to increase. It will help us to eliminate the poverty. It will improve the investments habit. There is no, if you have seen, there was no tax aviation. No one would say "Kya, no, I'm not going to pay the tax." They have to pay the taxes on time. Okay, and of course the government is going to earn the revenue out of this, and this would help them to give us the services. Now, moving on further, this was all about the need and the benefits, why your GST is important, what benefits are there, and if you can also highlight the point, of by saying, if we talk about the economic growth, then what will be the benefit? If we talk about the business, then what will be the benefit? If we talk about the consumer's point of view, what will be the benefit? So like this way also you could explain it properly. Now, moving forward to the GST council. What exactly your GST council is? Okay, you might have heard the student council also. Okay, what work you people do? It's the linkage between the people, I mean the students and the uh, institute. Similarly, the GST Council also works. Okay, it was launched in the period of in 2016, that is the 12th September. So here it basically says in the article 279A of the Constitution, which empowers the president to constitute a joint forum. Important word, the joint forum. Why joint forum? Because India is a federal system where state and central both comes into the picture. Okay, and here it was named as the Goods and Services Tax Council, that is the GST Council. Now, what GST Council, what is the composition of it? So, composition is basically who are the members of your GST Council. So, there are, importantly, it is bifurcated into the three parts. Okay, the chairperson. Chairperson is the Union Finance Minister. Okay. Now, who is the Union Finance Minister currently? Who is the Union Finance Minister currently? I want everyone to answer. You don't have to sleep. Don't say that you people are Googling it. Done searching? Like, seriously, you people are searching? It's Madam Nirmala Sitaraman. Okay? She's the chairperson of for your Union Finance Minister. Remember this. The next person is basically the Union Minister of the state who is in charge of the revenue or the finance. Third is the member, that is the minister who is in charge of the finance or the taxation or any another minister which is nominated by the each state. So this is the composition which we carry out. Now, what are the voting part? If we talk about what is basically the voting part, that is the quorum part. So whenever your GST council wants to make any decision, they can't take it, in a way out ki chalo now XYZ thing we are supposed to implement. I'm implementing. This is not the solution for any of the, this is not the proper way of decision making into it. Okay. So every time any decision in your GST council is to be taken, then it is never taken without the consent of the union government. Okay. What basically the union government it states is like the total members which are there. Okay. We are supposed to consider the 50%, and out of that 50%, the decisions will be taken or the considering the 75%, that is the majority part of it, that is the three-fourth part of it. Now again, the three-fourth part weightage will be again bifurcated into the one-third share, which is from the central government, and one two-third strength from the state government. Okay, so in short, if I tell you, out of all the members, 50% is to be considered uh, minimum. Okay, if 50% is there, then again further the decisions of them should be minimum 75% of the total vote for the decision. If some decisions are pending, then in that also one-third share must be for the central government and two-third share must be of the state government. Then and then only the decisions are passed. Now, what exactly your GST council helps us to uh, grow for it? I mean, what exactly the functions your GST council does? Okay, the GST council basically helps us to rate the taxes. Okay, what that rate of your taxes are. Okay, if someone is rating of the taxes is given by the GST Council. They discuss among themselves. Again, they take a decision of the majority part and they launch the uh, uh, law over it. the taxes which is to be subsumed. Okay, this decision is also in the hand of the GST Council. The tax in on what type of goods and services the taxes are to be uh, charged, or which taxes are to be exempted, uh, that decision part is also with your GST Council. The model of your GST law is also framed by the council. The threshold limit is also decided by your GST Council only, as to what states the limit is to be, what will be the composition schemes elements, what will be the cess part, all the decisions. It also helps for the people also. I mean, to if any query has been raised, again the decision has been taken among themselves. Okay, the special status for some states is also considered, and they can recommend the changes which is needed wherever it is needed. Okay, the inclusion, including your petroleum products decision, is also with the council, whether in near future the petroleum products are to be included or not. It's still all hold because of the natural resources. Okay, and it is again guided and by the need for any harmonized structure of the GST, the development for the national market, the harmonized national market. So any other matter also will be covered into the GST, which gives benefits to the national market, which gives benefits to the economy, and which improves the economy in a positive way. So it will have the powers only on the following situations: when the petroleum products is to be get in into the GSTN network, I mean GST net, or the distribution of the revenues of your IGST and the CGST among the unions and the states is also it's also with the GST Council. The continuation of 1% tax on supplies of the goods, which comes under the interstate part, is also with the GST Council. The compensation to the states for the loss of revenues which are there for the period of 5 years. The compensation is basically where you get the uh, or the amount, uh, or you can say amount, basically the loss which has been incurred because of the implementation of your GST. The loss is also bared by the uh, by the government, but again it is accountable, and it is to be disclosed, and it is to be discussed over here. That period of 5 years is also with the GST Council. So, in short, if we can sum up this, that the council will make the recommendations to the unions and the states on the important issues, the functions which we have seen, like the tax rates, the exemption parts, three threshold limit, the dispute resolutions, okay, whatever is there. So till now, okay, I mean not till now, I would say the few highlighted points, which I will be sharing with you, has been now discussed with the GST Council. Okay, like for example, the threshold limit exemptions. Okay, the threshold limit exemptions earlier limits are right now, which is 20 lakhs, and for the special category states. Okay, the special category states, again we will be covering at the time of the registration only. So in this particular, for the special category which was covered under 279A for the constitution, the threshold limit for exemption part is of rupees 10 lakhs, which is again fixed by the GST Council. Now, right now, the tax rates. Okay. Now, if you have observed that 5% tax is there, 12% is there, 18% is there, and 28% is there. These rates are also fixed by it under the some for some goods and services which are listed under the exempted items also. Now, the council has also asked the committees of the officers to fit various goods and services in this four labs, which is again now still in process, considering the present incidence of your taxes. There are five laws right now which are running over here. That is the CGST law, IGST law, SGST law, GST compensation law, and UTGST law also. Okay. Further, in order to ensure, these laws were recommended by the GST Council. That is the reason, if you might have observed, the GST Council year was 2016, and the laws has been initiated. Wait, I will just show you. The GST Council was initiated in 2016, and the laws over here, if you could see, it's all 2017. So this recommendation has also been done by the GST Council to you know uh, get all the control of the incomes which has been earned by it, or whatever the factors which are required to control. For that, the law has been inculcated in order to ensure this single interference for the all administrative process, which gives the maximum control over it. The online portal system has also been started. Over, you can see the all administrative control is over 90%, which has the turnover below of rupees 1.5 crore, which has west with the state tax administration and 10% with the central tax administration. So the turnover which is above the 1.5 crore will be divided in the ratio of 50 among this two. Among these two means that is the central and the state tax authorities. Now, since I was telling continuously the GSTN network. Okay. Now the now we will discuss regarding the GSTN network. Now, what exactly your GSTN network is? It's basically the common portal for all who can access that. Okay. So coming to the portal part, I will just tell you the site which you need to observe for the GST. Okay, for the GST is www.gst.government.in, and for the GSTN network, okay, the networking site website is different. That is www.gstn.org.in. I will just give you the visit. Everyone has visited the GST site till now. This is what my thought process is. If not, then you just go and visit that GST site. Okay, gst.government.in. I will now share the gstn.org.in site with you. Just a minute. Have you ever visited it? The silence means no. So this is how your gstn.org.in site looks like. Okay, here you can see the home, the important tabs where you can get the work done with us, what work done with them. Okay, the projects are also there regarding the GST e-way bill, e-invoice, Intixex. The GST system statistics is also displayed over here. Okay, the registered taxpayers, the total return which is filed, the e-way bill, the total invoice uploads, then the payment through the portal, excluding the IGST part on imports, the total number of payment transactions which is done, the highest return transactions in a day, and the highest payment transactions in a day to encourage it. This is the e-way bill statistics. Later further you can explore more of the details into it, the registration, the appointment part, whatever you want. You just look to the site, get the details done, you understand what exactly the GSTN do for the people. Okay, now coming to the GSTN to our uh, part of understanding that what exactly your GSTN is going to do. Okay, so GSTN is basically your goods and service tax network. If you could connect if you could emphasize the word on the network, it basically says that it connects the people. Okay, it connects the people on a common platform, and hence it is a common portal for every user who is going to use it. And it's the information over here is displayed very correctly and very clearly, so that there are no deviations found in it. It's a national uniform utility. The GSTN ownership is also there. It has the robust infrastructure and the complex operations over here. Okay, the information over here are secured with them. There is no leakage of the informations. The payment is again a easy process into this. So what functions they do, what work they do, GSTN, they register, they look for the challans, they look for the appeals, they do the return filings, they look forward for the refunds, they look forward for the auditing part also. Okay, so everyone has to visit that particular site and let me know the other functions which are also pertaining to the GSTN network. So here they access the impact of the GST on the business process, getting registered as a GST payer, meeting the compliances which is there, updating the accounts into the systems, the ERP systems is also done by your GSTN network. Now, exactly, the person who basically controls the GST, I mean the GSTN network portal. Okay, how does it work? So if you could see, there are private companies which are registered under the section 8 of your companies act of 2013 comes into picture. So the shareholder part, how the ratio has been divided is that it's completely private. Okay, so your 51% of the share has been held by the non-government sector, that is the non-government financial institutions, the private sectors only, and the rest 49% is divided between the central and the state governments, coming to 24.5% each. This is the share part of the GSTN network. Here in detail you can realize the actual situation of the authorized capital which is there right now. The authorized capital for the GSTN is rupees 10 crore, that is US dollars, and 1.6 millions. Here the shareholders name and the shareholding companies has been disclosed. The central and state governments are pertaining to the 49, which is again the 24.5% each. The HDFC, the HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank covers 10%. The NSE Strategic Investment Companies also covers 10%. The LIC Housing Finance covers 11%, and it sum ups everything to 100%. Okay, this is how your authorized capital is divided into. Coming to the persons basically who is going to handle all of this, so they are called as the GST Suvidha providers. who is this Suvidha providers? It's basically the brains of the GSTN. अभी ये portal वगैरह है, someone is supposed to operate it. So who is going to operate all of this? So, and whatever the operation is there, one must understand it, and one must uh, disclose the details which is available for the public. So everything should come into the chain, and everything must be controlled. Again, the private corporation which owns and manages the GST portal comes into the picture. So what does GST Suvidha providers do? It's basically the linkage to the taxpayer. Okay, linkage to the taxpayer, that means it provides the various information of the IT sector, the software and the financial technologies. Now, what things are been included in this? It is the 73 ITEs companies are there, financial technology companies are there, one commissioner is also there, which is from the commercial taxes. It's again from the Karnataka. Right now, the person who is managing the service provider system is the Infosys. I hope you have heard the Infosys company. Right now, this company has been appointed as the MSP, that is the managed service provider, who handles everything of the GST in portal. Basically, the portal services and the function is to manage the website, the front end services of the registration, payments, and the returns. It helps the system to forward the returns to the central and the state authorities. It provides the MIS reports to the central and the state authorities. I hope you are aware about the MIS reports. It's the management information system reports, which is to be submitted regularly to the central and the state authorities, that exactly what has happened till date. These reports are to be analyzed for functioning for the business, for the smooth functioning of the business. Further, it performs the computation and the settlement of your IGST. It matches the tax payment details with the banking networks. It helps us to provide the analysis of the taxpayers' profiles. It runs the matching engine, the matching, reversal, and reclaim of your input tax credit. So here, if you could see, the GSP will help uh, the ASP. ASP is basically the application service provider, who is again a linkage between the taxpayer and the GSP. But who is the managed service provider? It's basically the Infosys who manages everything regarding the portal. Now we have seen the portal functions, no, the what basically the uh, networking person do, and what the GSP people also do. GSPs people also do, that is the Suvidha provider services also we have seen, and the functions of the GST and networks is also covered. Now basically, to look forward, ki, okay, these people are working, but someone has to uh, look into it, ki baba, who basically can access all of this data. So it's only the person, the official authorities of the jurisdictions will come into picture, who can access all the data. It's the person who's paying the tax, that is your taxpayer, will be there, and the audit authorities, okay, who will be accessing the data which is there in your GSTN portal. Now, coming to the GST compensation cess. Okay, the compensation says, as I said earlier, compensating means the loss which has been incurred earlier is now been resolved, or now been relieved. You're getting that payback over it. So here it says that the cess here it says that the cess over here is a cess that that will be collecting on the supplies of the selected goods and services, or might be both, till its 1st July 2022, but still now it is continuing. It will compensate the states for any revenue loss on account of the implementation of your GST. It is again levied on both of these supplies, that is your interstate supplies and the intrastate supplies, again of the goods or services, or both, to compensate to the states for the losses of the revenues which has been incurred due to the implementation of your GST. And this losses will be again shared between the central and the state government, since the federal comes under the federal system. Next, it will not be payable by those person who have to opt for the compensation levy. And here one need to understand the input tax credit of this particular cess amount. The ITC amount will only be used to pay the compensation cess, and not the other taxes of the CGST, SGST, UTGST, or IGST part. So this point is to be remembered by you people. So here is the gist of the compensation, said that it says that the amount will be compensated to the states within the period of the 5 years from the implementation where your GST come into force. That is, it has come into the force 2017. So in 2022, it has ended. So the compensation amount will be calculated from the base year of 2015-16, assuming to the annual growth of 14%. Here, the alcohol products, that is the alcohol for human consumption products, the petroleum products, are not accounted in the base revenue years to compensate the uh, taxes. And here, the states will be compensated at the end of every 2 months to maintain that accountability. And here, the GST compensation cess may be levied on the supply of certain goods and services, as it will be recommended by the GST Council part. And recommendation takes time. It's a long process, so it will take time. Here, how the unutilized money is to be used by the compensation of, you know, uh, I mean, the compensation fund, how it is going to be utilized. If it is unutilized, then the 50% of the fund will be shared between the states in proportion to the revenues of the states, and remaining 50% part will be covering the central divisible pools of the taxes. So these are some references which you can go and get into details of it. So you can take a screenshot of the references also. Okay. Any doubts here, everyone? Anything which you have not understood? I hope everyone is active during the lecture. Okay. So now you might have realized that you are updated with the concept of the taxation system, the GST part, the need, the importance of it, the models of your GST, the GST council, okay, the role and phases of it, then the uh, constitutional provisions which are there, the cess part, the compensation cess, and the GSTN network. The GSTN network questions will be asked, the GST council questions will be asked, the supply models will be asked, that is the interstates or intrastates, which is, you know, which is to be understood by you, which is expected to be coming. The next class we will, move forward with the registration. Okay. So see you in the next class. Till then, take care. And make sure that you are visiting the site which I have asked you people to uh, come up with. Okay, the GST site also and the GSTN site also. So both sides you must go through and understand what exactly the site reflects. Okay, so this is the task for you people. So tomorrow you will be telling me exactly what you have gone through, what exactly the site displays. GSTN site I have already shared with you. Okay, now you tell everything to me in details. Okay, now I will start calling names if you people are inactive. Shreya, Abhishek, Ishika, sure. Then everyone see you tomorrow. Bye, take care.